Thank you, Madam President, Vice President Jordan, members of council. Great to be with you all. It has been a very eventful 8 weeks on this job. We've had not one, but 3 snowstorms after a 3-year drought from those. And obviously the water crisis, which we're up to our ears in, and the confusion around the federal funding freeze and all the other things that have just been coming at us nonstop. It's been a pretty intense introduction to this job. As it relates to water, much of my time over the past 8 weeks has really been devoted to that initial effort to restore water service and then on shoring up operational resilience at the plant. Dr. Morris is scheduled to give a more detailed presentation to GovOps on Wednesday, but I'll give kind of a brief overview just of where we are now. And as just for our viewers, all of our council meetings are on Legistar, and Dr. Morris's presentation is already uploaded onto that in case anybody wants to take a look at that. And then the other part of what we've been doing is really driving the investigative work in partnership with you all. As you know, we hired a national firm called HNTB to do that work, and we recently got a preliminary report from them. We made that public on February 14th. And I know that there were some initial questions about the length and the timing of that preliminary report. And I just want to remind folks that our shared commitment, mine and council's shared commitment, was really to prioritize transparency and accountability around this and to choose an independent firm who didn't have a pre-existing relationship with the city of Richmond to produce that report and do that investigation. And so that just inherently meant it was going to take longer than some of our neighboring localities who were able to draw on local resources and existing contracts. And I just want to thank President Newmill and Vice President Jordan, who spent a lot of hours alongside me and Sabrina and the rest of the team interviewing a number of different firms before HNTB was selected and brought on board. So they turned the preliminary report around in just under 3 weeks after getting on the ground here in Richmond. And the final report will be coming up next month and will be shared with council leadership as soon as we get it. So just a few high-level findings. The report did affirm that the power outage early on January 6th started the sequence of events, this chain reaction of events that ultimately led to flooding, submersion of key equipment damage, and disruption of service. The report lays out a series of recommendations, I think, which most of you have seen as that report has been published. And many of those recommendations have already been implemented by Dr. Morris as part of our response and enhancement effort. To date, we've invested just under $5 million on equipment repairs and upgrades to the plant, including new UPS equipment, those backup batteries to ensure resilience and redundancy. We've made it without any concerns through those last 2 storms. We have made a lot of adjustments to staffing, to training, and making sure that there are clear plans in place for inclement weather and power disruption. One example of the changes implemented, the HNTB report notes that the plant was in winter mode. There are 2 main sources of electricity feeding the plant. During the summer, both of them are connected and feeding the plant. During the winter, historically years ago, the city made a decision to implement a cost-saving measure and move into winter mode, which would more rely on one, and then there would be an automatic switchover. And that automatic switchover was part of the failure that led to all these events. So we no longer are doing winter mode. We have restored summer mode, where both electrical sources are feeding the plant.